Mitch McConnell last week said we're running out of the $340 billion we set aside to small business owners and employees to finance through this difficult time. We've just gotten word that they have run out of money because the Democrats refused to come to the table to finance it. They wanted a whole host of incentives in order to do that. So I want to talk about it because I'm sure they're going to get money to fund it again. They want another $300 billion. But I want to talk about what's at stake, some frustrations people have with Gene Marks. He joins us now as a CPA and founder of Marks Group, a small business consulting firm. You see him all over the channel. Gene, sad that they've run out of money, right?
It's ridiculous, Brian, that they've run out of money. It was a poor calculation to begin with, and it's very, very frustrating that neither the Republicans or the Democrats can agree on what's needed. I mean, what the Republicans are proposing makes the most sense for business owners, which is just keep it simple and stick to the plan and put more money into the fund. Now that, people are trying to complicate this, it's just delaying things. And, Brian, people need money. These small businesses are really in trouble right now.
And how do you think this is working so far?
So it's not working well. There's been a lot of glitches in the system. There are two types of loan programs if you're a small business owner, Brian. I mean, there's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which you can get a loan directly from the Small Business Administration. It's a $2 million program, low interest, long-term maturity loans. And I was all real excited about them because it's an existing program. It's been around for years to help fund businesses, when there's a disaster. So I'm like, hey, cool. They're just going to take this existing, infrastructure and just extend low interest loans to small businesses. They've been overwhelmed and underfunded with requests, and what was supposed to be a 48-hour period where loans get turned around has now turned into weeks for small businesses. So that's been one big disappointment. The second big disappointment is with the other part of this program. This is the CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection Program, where now instead of going to the SBA, you're supposed to go to a bank to get money to help fund your business, forgivable money that can be used for your payroll and rent and utilities. And that's been a mess as well. A big part of that is because, it's been outsourced to banks. A lot of these banks, in my opinion, don't really want to do business with small businesses. It's not profitable for them to do it. And so they've been holding things up, and, the SBA has been slow to respond, and other platforms have stepped up to take funding from, to help. But it's been a very, very slow and complicated process. And, Brian, again, I'm on Twitter all day. I'm sure you see me there, and it's I'm answering questions and questions and questions from people from rural America, by the way, women-owned businesses, minority businesses. They're all out there applying for it. It's not like they're being ignored. They're doing their best to apply for the money. It's just that the system itself is just not serving them right now.
The way I understand it, the loans are going to be sold off almost immediately, so they'll get 5% of the loan. The interest is about 1%. But what they want to do is convert them to grants. And to do that, the criteria means 75% of the money's got to go to a payroll. But a lot of people don't have 75% of their. That's not the way their business plan works. 50% goes to payroll, maybe 50% goes to lighting and leasing, and who knows what kind of loans they took out, right? So they got to be loose on that. The word is they are showing flexibility on that. Are you hearing that too, or no?
I am hearing the same thing. Don't forget, though, that the original calculation, Brian, which is the availability of the loans, it's based on 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. So, it is a payroll-driven formula, which means that if you've got the payroll, the funding should be taking care of 2.5 months of that payroll plus another 0.5, which is to cover those sort of other expenses. The issue is that, businesses say, okay, well, I had 10 employees, but now because of this cutback, I've only got, 5 employees I can keep employed. So, but I still have my rent, I still have my utilities, and, that's a bigger chunk of what I need right now. And, some of the rules have to change to be able to accommodate that. So that has been an issue. Biggest issue, though, I'm hearing there, Brian, is just getting the money. It is, people have put in their applications. They're starting to get confirmations back from the SBA. It's called an E-Trans number. They're starting to get some communications from the banks, but we're a couple weeks into this now. And I am not getting many people telling me that they've actually received funds. I mean, a handful, But, there's been 1.2 million loans approved, I'm told, by the SBA, but a very, very tiny percentage of them are actually seeing the money. And that's clearly, in the end, what these businesses need.
Yeah, I would think so, too. Here's a question, and it's a little complicated. I own a small 20,000-foot square sports center. It's been closed. I have no employees. All event time is contracted by mostly youth organizations. My other business, Volleyball Corner, funds all the other labor costs. That business also closed. I'm losing $6,000 per week and can find nowhere to get financial assistance. I have no employees, so I don't qualify for the PPP. Is allocating money based on a $1,000 per employee, so I haven't received... EIDL is allocating money at $1,000 per employee, so I haven't received money. Businesses like mine need guidance. If I'm going to close, I need to do it now and cut my losses. From the best you can tell, what I just told you about, Bill, and I'm hitting you right now, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I do. First of all, these programs, particularly the Paycheck Protection Program, as you can tell by the title of it, it's designed for you to keep the lights on and to keep your employees employed so that they're not going for unemployment. That's what it's designed to do. So if Bill, that's his name, does not have any employees, he's laid them all off, the idea is for him to actually be paying his employees, and then therefore, the government will forgive some of those costs for doing that. If that's not feasible or possible, which in his case doesn't sound like it is, his only choice is to go for the economic injury disaster loan. And you just heard it right there. He's applied. He's waiting. He's not getting any funds for helping him out. That really is his biggest option. One other thing I do have to say, Brian, is that many states, many localities are offering relief, like grants, low interest loans that I wanted to bring your attention to. There are some companies that are setting, they are helping. Facebook has established like $100 million program to offer grants. JP Morgan Chase, Verizon, those are all sources that you should be looking into. And finally, keep an eye on that Main Street lending program. And I'm talking to that one guy who asked you this question. It's not up and running yet, but it's low interest loans, minimum of $1 million, but it may help see him through this issue. Paycheck Protection Program is not going to be the answer for him.
Right, it's not. How about this? Two-part question. First is mine. My wife's stimulus check went to an account that we do not know, and it's not the last 4 digits of our Social Security number. We didn't use that advance payment option for the TurboTax refund, as so many have. What can we do, as we need the money ASAP? So the money went to an account that they do not know. So that's who they were told. What do you do if the money went to an account that doesn't exist or can't get to?
I would be jumping out the window if that's me. I mean, all you can do.
It's not good advice, Gene.
It's bad advice, I know, but pretty reasonable advice when you consider the alternative, which is calling the IRS and getting that problem fixed. I mean, the money's been dispersed. There's nothing online that's going to fix that. So you are literally, if this is an IRS-initiated thing, you're going to have to call the IRS directly, their helpline, and try and sort it out. And, Brian, I feel very bad for that situation because that sounds like a huge headache.
Second question, me and my wife live in Georgia. She's a hairstylist, and so far she's been denied for the pandemic unemployment assistance, as well as all the stylists she knows well. I was wondering if someone could explain why she can't get the state of Georgia to give her unemployment. Everybody knows you had to close the salons, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, not that I don't believe her, but I don't believe the situation where she's getting denied. Every state is under a federal mandate to provide unemployment insurance, not just to employees, but now to independent contractors and sole proprietors, which is exactly what hair salon stylists are. And I know many hairstylists that are in the same situation across the country, and they are getting approved for unemployment. I think this is a lack of education in the state of Georgia, whoever she's talking to, and it doesn't surprise me because a lot of these states, Brian, they have never given unemployment before to non-employees. So this is a whole new thing. Their websites aren't even set up to do it. Their employees aren't educated on how to verify non-employee income. And oh, by the way, they're all working from home. Oh, and they're government employees too. So, the hair salon stylist, she's entitled to unemployment. That is under the CARES Act. She needs to fight harder with the Georgia state unemployment and get what's due to her. That is very important. She can get it.
Yeah, You got to be relentless because they take that out of our check when we are working. So you should not feel guilty. So we know this: the Paycheck Protection Program is out of money, but don't be. I know they're going to fund it again. So if you walk into Chase or Wells Fargo and they say sorry, you got to go back because they'll be funded again. But this you got to put pressure on your politician. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican to get it done. Last one, Lloyd writes us and says, I've been trying to gain access to the PPP since April 3rd, have not been able to get anywhere except run around from my community bank. The problem is they don't want to be on the hook, but the paperwork from the SBA plainly states that I will be held accountable when they tally up. That is fine, but please get me help. I was told to submit a Schedule C 2018 return, 9/41/2018, which we did. This was This was after several rounds. They were told using staffing agencies would not be able to be counted. So you get his gist. He's doing everything, but in his case, the community bank not working.
Unfortunately for the community bank, that's the situation. But I've got advice for him and for your other listeners that are having problems with their banks in getting the loans. There are now some excellent resources online that are processing these Paycheck Protection Program loans, and I'm hearing good things back from my readers and my clients as well. Kabbage is one with a K. PayPal, Square, Lendio, all of those services. Oh, and QuickBooks Capital, just to name a few, have now gotten approval from the Treasury Department to process paycheck protection loans. And what's important about these services is that they're already in the online lending business, Brian. So more so than a small community bank, or they have more of the technology infrastructure to handle the online process, the data that's required in the approval process. They're set up to do it, and I'm hearing that the process for them is much more easy and user friendly and faster. So again, Kabbage, PayPal, Lendio, Square, QuickBooks Capital. There's a few others, but those are some of the big names.
All right. That's great advice, because now that they're into it, they are meant to be online, so they're not being converted online, and they'll be able to negotiate that. So that's good for those companies too. They'll be in profit. They might even get some users out of it. Gene Marks, CPA founder of Marks Group, and listen, everyone's doing this on the fly. I think the government's well intended. I talked to Marco Rubio the other night. I know what he intends to do. We want to make sure he wanted to prevent against scammers. But what he did is the formula is not a workable formula. Not many businesses live on 75% payroll. And if you don't help them with their lights and their lease, there's no business to keep them employed in. So they have to wake up to that. Anything else to keep in mind?
Yeah, I just have one final thing I'll say, Brian, if you'll allow me. Everybody, if you're on Twitter, my Twitter address is @GeneMarks, GeneMarks. I have been, over the past couple of weeks, answering questions. If you've got specific questions, just tweet me there, and I'll be happy to respond to you. You know, just come to me with all your questions. I'd like to help.
Awesome, Gene. You helped a lot of people just now. I appreciate it.